Hey guys, it's William Christopher Ford, and in this very special edition of 52 Masters, I'm here in New Jersey for the very first time with my good buddy, Master Jose Torres, and his amazing students at Team Torres Martial Arts. That being said, let's get to training! I am 51 years old. I've been a practitioner of Okinawan Shorin-ryu karate since I was 7. There was some who would call me a master. I assure you, I am not. I believe that the true expert is someone who still has a student's heart and a beginner's mind. This year, to celebrate turning 52, I'm setting out to learn from 52 other disciplines, each from its own master. Some things I've tried before, others I'm a first-day beginner like anyone else. 52 weeks, 52 new skills. I'm William Christopher Ford, and this is 52 Masters.
Nice shot! Nice shot! Remember, nice and sharp when we're moving. We're going to do that look and step at the same time. Hut! Hut! Fast. Hut! Back to shoulder. Try it again. Ready? Remember, open the hand and then hit that. Ready? Look, stop. Hut! Everybody understand? Yes, sir. All right, everybody try. Go. So his strike, the nice thing with this one is we can do the block for both. So if he's a wild puncher where he comes from here, I'm putting the hands up. This is like the, oh man, something's happening. So again, he's here and I'm here. Or if he's straight, I just have to cut a little bit better, okay? So we're gonna go a little bit wider, like an untrained person. He's gonna come in from here. Immediately, I'm gonna have both of my hands up. I'm gonna take my right hand, the knuckles in the back. The fastest thing is what's exposed. The ribs, and you guys all know this because we do it in class. So I'm here, boom, it's gonna come right inside of here. I'm hitting right in here fast, okay? At the same time that I'm here, I have to now do the next move before he comes here. So it's gonna be 1, 2, here, knee, and then step, down. Everybody see I took him down, hand in the middle of the chest. I'm already set for a wrist lock, knee here, whatever needs to be done, okay? So we're gonna go slow again. I'll come from this angle here, nice and slow. So again, he's gonna punch, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm stepping, sliding this hand here so I have control. Step, down. We're going to go over, make sure that he's going to punch here. We're going to hold like this, right? To the midsection, right? Now, come up here. See my throw? Here. Slide the hand here. Alright? Let me see, sir. Let's go. Let's move slow. Step by step. 1, 2, 3. Knee. Get that big knee first. Bang. Take it down. Yeah. You can't be nice, sir. This is a bad guy. Help him up. Help him up. Try it again. Shoot. 3. Knee. Yes. Take it down. Yes. There you go. Funny stand. Hey! Steady up. 5. 2 minutes. Funny stand. Hey! Hey! Alright, front kick. Axe kick. Hey! Spin hook kick. Hey! Scissor kick. Hey! Oh! Again. Okay. We'll fix it in post. Do it again. There you go. There you go. And now do a jumping. Can you do a jumping crescent? Like just sort of jump. Yep. Hey! Nice. Tornado. Hey!
So that was a lot of fun training. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, thanks for coming out.
Really great energy, really great kids. You just have an amazing family here, and I felt the love immediately. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, everybody was excited, obviously, to have this opportunity, and the kids tried to bring their A game for you. So
well, they certainly did, and they're all very nice, and everybody came out, and just so polite and so warm, and it's definitely a reflection of not only their parents but of their instructor. So
thank you.
You're doing a great thing here. How long have you been in the martial arts for?
Wow. So I started when I was 5. Roughly, I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And I just turned 44.
Okay.
Almost approaching that 40-year mark. They're almost 39 years now. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing investment. And you started in the same style that you're teaching now. Is that what you started in?
Yes. I signed up at a local martial arts school. And my mom signed me up after I watched probably the cliche start that every martial artist has. Sure. I think I saw it was a Bruce Lee movie or Chuck Norris, and she signed me up at the local school. It was a Tang Soo Do school.
Okay.
Name of the school is Hamilton Karate.
Okay.
And
Hamilton Karate was named after the gentleman?
The instructor. Yeah,
okay.
my first instructor was Master William Hamilton.
Okay.
He was a direct student from C.S. Kim.
Okay.
Jay Chul Shin, Koreans first kind of came over with that group, and never stopped since. I've dibbled and dabbled some other different systems and styles, but Tang Soo Do has always been where my heart is, and that's the basis in the curriculum that we teach. And just martial arts in general is just unbelievable.
Tang Soo Do was also the style that Chuck Norris did, right?
Correct. Probably one of the most famous individuals. Yeah, and he is a direct student also of Jay Chul Shin. Yeah.
I worked with an individual on the Karate Kid 3, Mr. Pat Johnson, who was he played the referee, but he was also the coordinator and choreographer for all those, and I believe he is a Chuck Norris guy.
Correct.
Tang Soo Do.
Yeah. It's amazing, how the spread of the art and how many people are involved, and it seems like a lot of people have started in certain systems, and Tang Soo Do is one of them that comes up. It's a nice, strong, hard style, and the Korean aspect of the kicking and the technical aspect is I think it's great. It fits well with children. I know there's a lot of different systems out there, and there's pros and cons to everything, but I love the system. It's done very well for me and my students.
You knew from day one, like, after you took your first class, there was just something like, I really like this, like there was just something like, when where you're going home and like kicking it stuff and everything.
Yeah, I hurt myself. I think I tried to jump off the bed and I hit my head on the wall or something. But no, I knew I fell in love with it, and I was just so amazed. Even at a young age, I was in that mysticism of, wow, I want to make my body move that way. I want to be able to jump in the air, or I want to look strong. And when I was a kid, I was made fun of. I was bullied, and martial arts really kind of helped me ground myself and get my self-confidence. And it took me a while. I was kind of a late bloomer and kind of became outgoing, probably going into high school. But martial arts really kind of was that home, and I was able to train and work on my craft and teaching. I always liked working with kids. Even when I was a kid, I liked helping others in the class. So I think that's kind of translated to where I'm at now. Yeah.
Did you, while you were coming up as a kid doing martial arts, do you think that it affected the way that people treated you in regards to bullying?
It did. It's funny. I had started martial arts early, and I was still bullied in the very beginning stages. Very similar to Karate Kid. I'll say that. I think I was picked on as a kid in the funny story. Like, it was in the front. We lived in an apartment complex at that time, and the kid wanted to fight me because he had heard that I learned karate, and I think I was like maybe an orange belt or something. I really didn't know anything, but I was used to line drills where, hey, you kick and then I kick and then you kick and I kick, and the guys like looking at me. And my first experience did not go too well. It did not go too well. I think I fell down or something. But it's funny because when I was in middle school, we used to do this big demonstration where we would perform and do jumping kicks, a breaking. And I had these patio blocks, and I could break patio blocks pretty early. I was about 12 and 13.
Okay.
And I had a black belt, and some of the kids from the school had heard I was going to be there, and we did this performance in the mall, and there's a couple guys that were bullying me at that time, and I made sure to invite them to the demonstration so they could get to see some of the things that I could do. And I'll probably say after that point, nobody really bothered me. But it gave me that confidence. I just carried myself better, and that's the same thing I try to instill in my students. Is make sure that you have that confidence and carry yourself well.
So you got a chance to teach a little bit in college.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So the instructor had called me and said, "Hey, I can't make the ESAC, whatever the number of the class was, and I had to go into it was kind of like a aerobics room and teach a class." And I had some teaching experience because when I was in high school, I used to teach Saturday mornings at my current academy.
Okay.
I rode my moped, and I would go on Saturday mornings. If everybody remembers what a moped is, right? I was a pretty cool dude then when I had the moped. What I mean? Right. I'd make pit stops everywhere. But I would ride the moped to teach class, and I love teaching. I loved working with kids, and I kind of found even at a young age that they would gravitate, they would listen. And it just felt so empowering to be able to say, hey, I can teach you how to do that. And I think that's the biggest thing that that's kept me motivating when I teach my students now in my 40s. It's still that excitement,
You ever get a chance to work with some special needs students?
I have. In my current area, and I don't know if it's necessarily the governing, I haven't had a lot of opportunities. The biggest opportunity I worked with Greenberg Academy, which was an alternate high school, where students unfortunately were mainstreamed in a regular school. And I had an opportunity, and we did martial arts every Friday.
Oh, nice.
It was a different time. It was a grant that they had. I did it for about 3 years. I would teach on Fridays, and that was a really rewarding experience.
Yeah.
Getting to work with those kids, because I mean, all different walks of life, different dispositions, but
Yeah.
still warm at heart, and they just
Sure.
want to learn.
Yeah. Some of my greatest lessons have come from students who, maybe they have autism,
Yeah.
perhaps there's some sort of, physical handicap, so I've had the great honor and pleasure of working with kids who have, Down syndrome, who have autism, and who also have some sort of physical disability, and I've learned many great lessons as a result of my getting a chance to be with them. And some of the greatest lessons I ever learned as an instructor were with these kids.
Yeah.
And as the greatest teachers that we have as teachers are our students. I strongly believe that. The old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, I believe that when the teacher is ready, the students will appear.
Yeah.
And what am I going to learn from my students today? That's a very empowering question. So I really see the rapport that you have with your students, and I notice all your assistant instructors are very much in tune with the kids' energy as well.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. It was good to see that.
It is. What I realized is that I feel like all martial arts instructors, we're blessed with that energy, and you can kind of feel that of your students. And it's up to us, I think, as instructors to get the best out of them, because we're gifted with an emotional side, a spiritual side, and a physical side with these students. And sometimes you have students that come to you, they need that connection. Maybe they have something going on wrong at home. There's no dad in the situation. There's no mom, the grandmother. Somebody's different raising them. And some of these kids, they just need love and just attention and emotional connection. And I feel like that's what my family here in my studio tries to do with a lot of the students. Because you never know what day they're having. They could be having a bad day. Maybe they didn't eat. Maybe mom and dad is having a divorce. But if I could be the light that I make those kids happy, and I give them that opportunity that they say, I got to see Master Torres today. When a kid invites me to his birthday party or asks if I can come over to his house to ride a bike with him, that kind of shows me that I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. So I try to always keep that in mind.
I had a good time talking to your youngest son, Mason, when we went to dinner. Mason took us out to dinner, and it was great. But we started talking about superheroes and video games and basketball, and he says, I know a lot about the NBA, and he certainly did, but I enjoy engaging with kids and having a conversation with them, and it's not about me talking at the kid, it's, hey, we're having this exchange, there's a conversation, there's a give and take,
right.
And I think that's forgotten sometimes, where kids, they need guidance and they need structure, and some of them need tough love, some of them need nurturing, some of them need both, and it just depends on the situation and what do they need in this given moment.
Right.
But I found your sons to be very engaging and charming and powerful. All three of your sons. Your oldest son Ryan, how old is he now? 20.
Ryan's 21.
21.
Yeah.
And then AJ, Alejandro Jose.
Alejandro Jose.
What a wonderful
AJ.
name.
He wants to change his name now.
He
wants to go to a movie star name. A.J.
I hear you. And it's funny because they're all raised by you and your lovely wife, and they have different personalities and different quirks and and it's like they're all from the same family, but
right.
It just goes to show it's not just how you're raised, there's something inherent within each one of us.
Right.
We can help raise, we can help shape our children, but our children are going to be, they come into the earth with their own stuff too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, that's not going to change,
Yeah.
We think we hopefully we can influence it in a positive way, but not always the case.
Right.
I mean, I'm blessed as well with, with wonderful kids, but I think, there are people who have criticized people like us who teach kids. There's a gentleman who I look up to named Dave Kovar. He's up in Sacramento. Yeah, and what I like about Kyoshi Dave is, he does what he does. He knows what he does, and he believes in the power of teaching young people, you know, and he trains, he learns, you know, the guy walks the talk. And he's been accused of like, oh, you're a sellout because you teach kids. You're a sellout because you teach kids? You know, what's that? You know what I mean? It's like, how can you say that?
Right.
You know,
Well,
you're helping. This is the next generation. You're building them up. You know, and it's like, I don't get that.
Well, I think too, a lot of instructors some instructors come from the old school mentality, right? And back in 20, 30, 40 years ago, you didn't have 5-year-old kids that trained, or 6-year-olds. It was a certain age, and you know, no younger black belts, and there's some schools that do really, really young stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, the demographics and what you're teaching now is totally different. You know, adults now are working 2 to 3 jobs just to make it, especially in the area that you're in.
Sure.
You know, they have multiple kids, so you know, the days when you would have 50, 60 adults in a class, it doesn't matter whose school is that. Kids is really the future. Kids are the, you know, the bread and butter of our industry. You know, and I think that people have to embrace it. But that I do have to give a little bit of credit that I think one of the things that has helped me so much, kind of be very keen, is being a father and having the 3 boys and going through the life lessons with them and incorporating all of our experiences to the class, and how I stay in tune with what generational that the kids are doing. Because with my son being 21, he was the first one 21 years ago. I was a new father, so you know, it's hard-nosed and you're doing all these things. And then the second one, you know, you kind of back off a little bit, you know, but he was very kind of in your face. And then the third one, you're really, really kind of like passive, you know. But I learned from them. You know, that's how we. I'll be honest with you. That's how I've been able to really develop my curriculum based upon my own kids. You know, what's cool, what's not. Because they'll say sometimes, you know, oh, Dad, I don't know if that's a good idea. You know, so they're my market testers. You know, but they're probably the biggest key to my success is my 3 boys, hands down.
Well, and then, you know, I'm sure that, you know, your oldest Ryan probably looks at, you know, some of the things that, you know, AJ has gotten away with and going, I never got away with that, you know, and then AJ's probably looking
Same
at
with
Mason going, how's that kid get away with? Like,
well, if you talk to Mason and AJ, or excuse me, if you talk to Ryan and AJ, they're going to say I don't parent anymore because Mason gets to do whatever he wants. That's what they're going to say. But no, we're horrible. But it's funny that, you know, Ryan has said that to me. He's like, oh, Dad, you're pretty relaxed in that situation. I said, I'm wiser now. And you know,
you got to thank him for being the guinea pig. You know? Thanks for taking a bullet for the team, right?
Yeah.
You know, and your wife is very grounding. She's you know, just a very you know, she truly is the rock. You know, and you know, getting a chance to, you know, hang out with her at dinner was really cool. You know, and really enjoyed
to have the support as being a business owner, and you know, the different people that are going to watch the show, whether they're a martial artist or just a local stockbroker or a farmer, you know, it's that family unit is has to be strong. You know, and you know, those times when, you know, we first started that, you know, I don't have enough students to pay the electric, or I don't have enough students, how are we going to do the mortgage this month? Or then, you know, you try to build a lifestyle of what you have, and it's always kind of up and down. But, you know, she's always been a rock, and she's always been there for me. And then as my career has kind of taken off, and I traveled and competed and did all these things and go to these other countries now, you know, she's holding it down. You know, she's always very supportive. So, you know, the unit is strong, and that's, I think, the reason why I'm sitting here even right now with you. You know, without their support I wouldn't be who I am.
Yeah, you know, and I'm just really grateful because I think she likes me, and you know, she's given the approval for you to hang out with me, and you know, I get to come back here. So, you know, if you're not blacklisted. You're not blacklisted. If after today's day, you know, she's like, you know, you know, you don't have to come back. You know, I'd be like, oh, you know. So I'm glad I made the list. Have you ever had something happen in your life where you know maybe you might have been more arrogant, more cocky, as we often are as young people, and have something happen to you that just changed your outlook and made you just like, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, you were humbled by that affected your as a martial artist? Yeah,
you know, it's funny, and I go back to probably 2 phases of my martial arts career and my business. You know, when I first opened, I was told I wouldn't make it. I told I wasn't good enough. I was told that, you know, and it's weird, you know, obviously I'm a Hispanic, I'm proud Puerto Rican. And, you know, I was told that, you know, you're not white, you're not black, you're not Asian, you're Puerto Rican, nobody's gonna train with you. You know, you're here in the suburbs. And, you know, that resonated on me really hard, you know, and I said, man, you know, I think I'm good at this, you know, I think I'll be successful. And, you know, there was people that kind of, you know, did not support me and said, you're not gonna make it, you know, you're not gonna, you know, do well. And even some people very close to me, you know, people that I trusted, that I looked up to, you know, either said I wouldn't make it or I need to do this and that. And, you know, it's crazy because I used it as a springboard to motivate me and just say, I'm going to show, I'm going to prove you wrong, you know, I'm going to motivate myself. And, you know, I remember the first time, you know, I went to a tournament, you know, and brought my kids, and, you know, we wanted to come out there and look sharp, you know, we always tried to go over the top, you know, have everybody dressed in their warm-ups and walk in a straight line and, you know, impress everybody, you know, but I was doing it for the wrong reasons sometimes, you know, versus me being me and allowing the students to be who they are, and that did humble me, you know. So, you know, when I first opened my school and, you know, moving forward and as growing and then starting to meet all these different masters and masters like yourself, you know, that humbles me truthfully, because it's like, wow, you know, this thing it's bigger than me, you know. And I think that embracing that has allowed me to become, you know, more successful and kind of continue. You know, but it's believing in myself, you know, because I think sometimes, whether you're adult or child, you know, we have to have that, you know, that internal strength that no matter what people tell you, you're going to dust yourself off and you're just going to get up and you're going to go. And, you know, that was instilled in my mom. You know, my mom basically told me I could do anything. You know, she was a great mom. She's no longer with us. She passed away. But she, you know, she made me feel like I could conquer the world. You know, and unfortunately, you can't conquer the world, and that humbles you. You know, and you know, having people tell me that I couldn't make it or I wasn't good enough, you know, that did hurt. You know, that did hurt. And so I wanted to make sure that I could. You know, because coming into the karate school, the biggest title that I had won at that time, I jumped aboard the United States Taekwondo Union, and I was on the Penn State Taekwondo team. Not a Tang Soo Do team, Taekwondo team. And I learned how to Hobu fight. It took me about 6 months, and I started going to tournaments and started winning. And my entire freshman year, every Taekwondo tournament I went to, I won. And did Hobu fighting, the continuous, and I had a blast. Qualified for Junior Olympics. And it was funny because I went to the qualifier in Junior Olympics, and I was like the first seed. I was supposed to win. And I went in very cocky. And I lost. And so I was the silver medalist, not the gold medalist. So that gave me a terrible seed for the Junior Olympics in Orlando, Florida. And it was a one and done deal because this was my last year qualifying, even though it was my first year, it was my last year qualifying for the Junior Olympics because I was 18 at that time. So it was like I had to go to the Junior Olympics and this is it, you know, and people were supporting and sponsors and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, it's a lot of pressure. So I kind of took that negative of, you know, being cocky and not prepared for that qualifier and then going and, you know, taking that perseverance and that energy, and then I ended up winning a gold at the U.S. Junior Olympics, 1996. So I proudly display that medal and the article I got on my wall, and that was probably a very turning point. That it's like, hey, you gotta, you know, stick to your guns, and you could do this no matter whether people tell you or not, and you know, God's gonna humble you sometimes. Though, don't go in cocky. Be appreciative, embrace it, and run forward, and always make other people better. You know, and I think that's kind of what I've learned to do better now in my 40s.
What do you think the greatest lesson you've learned from your students is?
Compassion. Probably how to love more. Because, you know, these kids, you could be in a bad mood. You could have a terrible day. And a little kid comes in and says, you know, hey, Master Torres, I lost my tooth. And to them, that meant the world to tell you that. That's powerful, you know, that's powerful. And you know, hey, Master Torres, I'm going to my grandma's house. I'm going to go swim. I have this cute little girl. She's new. She just got her yellow belt. Lena, she was part of the filming.
I remember her. And,
you know, great kid. And I've had some great kids over 20-some years. But, you know, it's funny now because I pay attention to those little things now more than I did when I was younger, you know. But she would say, you know, she'll tell me about her grandma, whose house she's going to. And I listen, you know. And the other kids, and they tell me, and I just appreciate that, you know, and I think that's the biggest lesson is the compassion and love of what these kids need because, you know, I was blessed to have two parents, you know, that loved me and came from a very loving family. You know, we didn't have a lot at that time, but, you know, I learned from the students now is every kid is different. You know, you don't know what they're going through. And sometimes you're that superhero for them. You're that person that they can't wait till Tuesday at 5:30 to come see Master Torres, you know, or Sensei 4 because they want to tell you how their weekend was. And that's just so powerful. It's magic. It's just something so rewarding that you know, you almost can't explain. You really can't. It's just this crazy energy from a spiritual side that you're able to mean this to these people. You know, so
Absolutely.
yeah.
Your father, who is with your mother, and no longer with us, you said he had a bomber jacket of some sort, and he put the Team Torres patch on it, and he had this customized jacket. When you told me that, it kind of moved me. You know, that he had this thing that he made.
He did.
I was taken from something else, and then he made his own customized Team Torres, you know, martial arts bomber jacket, you know, which I'm sure if people saw him with that, they'd went like, how do I get one of those?
You know, my dad was, you know, he's hard nosed, man. He was tough love. You know, there wasn't like.
No, he was a correction. He
worked in the corrections. He was in the military. He was Vietnam, war.
But he did the
locksmith. He was a locksmith. Yeah, I was telling you the story.
In the corrections.
In the corrections, yeah.
So he'd be responsible for changing out and fixing locks within the prison system.
Within the prison system, and
my
he worked in
God.
all the major prisons in New Jersey. You know, from Trenton State maximum security where murderers are to you know. Bordentown.
Some of the things he must have seen.
He did, and I think he carried a lot. You know, I got to, you know, learn a lot when he got sick. You know, he passed away from cancer, and unfortunately, that just devastates it. And you know, he kind of wasn't there, but you know, he was a hard-nosed guy, and he, you know, pushed. He always pushed. He wanted better, and he was very, you know, my mom. They were very good yin and yang, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, but now being older, I understand why he did certain things was because. You know, mom, she was just a great, and anybody who has ever, you know, was blessed to have a Puerto Rican mom or Spanish mom, is, oh, papi, you can do whatever you can, da 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 da. She just loved me and showered me with love, and she was my biggest supporter, you know. But my dad was very stoic, you know. He didn't say like, oh, great job, son, da da da. So I was always constantly like fighting, trying to be like, you know, better and make him proud. Other people he would say he was proud, he just never would tell me that. So that's the biggest lesson that I learned is because I don't want my boys or the students or anybody that comes in to ever wonder, does Master Torres care about me? You know, I want them to know that I love them and that I care them and I'm here, you know, because we're not promised tomorrow. You know, we might not be tomorrow. You know, my last legacy could be here talking to you, you know. I just want it to be that there's no question that if you love someone, I think you need to tell them, if you care about them. And I think that that's the discipline that you learn from martial arts because you have to be disciplined within yourself and confident within yourself to share with someone else. Because the thing of martial arts is building an ego. I'm the better fighter. I'm this, I'm that. And there's some great fighters, but that doesn't mean they're good people. You know, you could be a good instructor and a good teacher, but you're not necessarily good to the core. And I think that, you know, those are sometimes some things that are lost, but, you know, we have to always kind of keep in mind, you know. So,
If you had one lesson that you wanted to impart to your students, and this would be, hey guys, remember this. What do you think that would be?
I think the lesson and legacy I would try to, you know, leave them is to stay involved and have compassion for the next human being, you know, and my legacy and opportunity to even speak to you today is the work that I did in the community. You know, I started, I'm not part of a franchise, you know, it's Team Torres, and I built it from the ground up, but I would always try to get involved in the community. I coach like 3 different soccer teams. I coach basketball. I started an AAU program in the community. But it's always giving back, and it's always having compassion for one another and teaching. And I think that that's the biggest lesson that I leave to my students is, you know, be compassionate, be firm, you know, and believe in yourself, but be compassionate in the other human being that you're dealing with, you know. And I think that, you know, there used to be a saying in Tang Soo Do that we used to do. It had 5 codes. It was called the 5 codes of honor. And I think that's similar to a lot of martial artists, but the 5th code was a saying that would say, and it's changed over the years because of political, you know. I remember I think it was 1982, it was Kukuye Chung Sohago, and then, you know, we would shout all the Korean commands, but the very, very last 5th Opu command was, in killing, choose with sense and honor. And I didn't understand it at that time, you know, and do things with sense and honor. And I think that taking the killing out, but the sense and honor is doing things with sense and honor.
Mm-hmm.
Humility with sense and honor, honoring the other person. You may not like them, right? You may not believe in what they're doing, but respect them as another human being. You know, and I think that really shows kind of society, what's happening right now, just because there's so much, you know, going on today in social media and politically and things of that nature. So my biggest lesson is compassion and, you know, love one another and, you know, try to be the bigger person to help, you know, and I think that's the biggest lesson I could live to them, you know?
Yeah, that's powerful. I had a wonderful time today. Learned a bunch of stuff, but it's always, you know, I always learn a technique or a way to move or something, or I learn about, oh, that wasn't so easy. You know, like if something I think I could do, you know, maybe I didn't do it quite so well, but that's a lesson. You gotta take that and move on with it. And but I love being with. I get a chance to do a lot of one-on-one with people with these 52 masters, but it's also a lot of fun now that we're being able to, you know, be in the whole class, and I can kind of just learn what the other students are learning too. And you know, it's very personal. You know, I'm going to get out of it what I'm looking to get out of it, but I shouldn't be, but I'm always pleasantly surprised. It's like, oh, I learned like a ton of stuff today, and oftentimes I learned something about myself, you know, and even being a student of the martial arts for like 48 years, I'm still learning stuff every day. I'm learning about what can't do that. Maybe I still can do that. You know, how can I change this? You know, maybe I got to do something different. You know, but there's always something.
Right.
You know, but you got to go in with that student mentality, that beginner's mind.
Yes.
And you know, once again, I got a chance to experience it here today with you, with your, you know, your lovely family and your dojo students as well.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Mr. Jose Torres. Now, you know, just so you guys know, this is like the second day that I've actually had actual face-to-face contact with Master Torres. You know, but we've been Facebooking. I'm not Facebooking. We've been Zooming and, you know, conversing over the phone. And I already felt like I knew you, like when you picked me up from the airport. It was like, you know, it was like, oh, this is, you know, you're exactly like you've always been. And, you know.
Are you sure you're not Puerto Rican? Maybe that's why we get along.
I might be able to play one on TV, but that's a subject for another day.
Right.
But, you know, once again, you know, much thanks, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Just love being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon. This is 52 Masters with William Christopher Ford. Once again, my great friend, Master Jose Torres.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you again, sir.
All right.
And we'll see you next time.
See you guys.